You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men power want? More power.
My name is luca-zanna. I was an Italian by birth, and I became an American by choice. Our lives and freedoms are in danger. This is not a drill. If you're listening to this broadcasting, you are the resistance.
All systems go.
Welcome to Love, Guns, and Freedom.
We're not afraid.
AR-15s were used in 6 of the deadliest mass shootings since 2012. Some Parkland parents want to eradicate the AR.
There's absolutely zero need for an assault rifle in this country. And I do think that our mental health system, as a former social worker, I think that we need help.
Registered Republicans Glenn and Angela Goad say the shooting at their 14-year-old daughter's school has changed their view on guns.
I'm embarrassed as a father and as an American that it took this event to make me have emotion about this, because the children of Sandy Hook were just as important as the children in Parkland.
The couple told us that parents have been holding meetings to try to figure out how to bring about real change. Here at the main memorial in Parkland, there's been a steady stream of mourners paying their respects. Rena? Welcome to another Sunday. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna on K-Talks 1340 AM and also 104.1 FM. This is an emergency broadcast. As you just heard from this little clip from this news, you want to call it news, CBS, whatever it was, the machine propaganda, the globalist propaganda to come after our Second Amendment, it is in full action. Now, let me be straight here. Let me be straight. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I just am an American who believes in the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights. And by the way, I'm somebody who escaped a form of government that I do not recommend to anybody. I'm from Italy. I'm from Europe. I'm from a place that the individual has not really any type of God-given rights. And if you want to call, forget about God or gods, whatever you believe, I don't care. Unalienable rights. And that just does not apply to the Second Amendment. Also, of course, the First Amendment. So the point is, what they're trying to do here, you will listen to this broadcast. I'll lay the case. Try to use emotions and the useful idiots, let me say again, the useful idiots, to destroy basically two things, most important. Our First Amendment and our Second Amendment. Something that really, what it's left in this country that make us different from any other country around the world. And let me tell you something. If you believe that you don't need those, that's fine. You can change country at this point. I don't care. If you want to be a slave, go ahead. But I tell you something. I took an oath when I came to this country to define this Constitution and Bill of Rights, and this is how I'm going to fulfill it. Start to try to share information, education. What means, first of all, don't have them. And now exactly I like the case why this is all being, my opinion, not only just exploited, but I believe also there is much more. And I'll give you also my conspiracy theory side. But more important, let's start with the facts. Okay, everybody heard. I don't need to repeat you the facts, at least the official facts, okay? This young man, disturbed probably, with a family background, not normal, okay? Somebody was isolated. That's the first thing. Normally, there is one thing that they don't talk much. This man has no family right now, of course, has nobody behind. So when you're isolated, and I'm not trying to put any excuses, this act of evil is evil. But when you're isolated and you have some mental problems, for sure, especially if you're under medications, and we have proofs here. I mean, they don't talk much about this alleged shooter, because he still deserves a trial, we'll see. Was on medication, mental medication, okay? So, there is a case. How many of these people who committed this terrible crimes were on mental medications. How many? So, number one, if you want to really look at the facts, let's look at one thing. One thing in common all these mass shootings have is called mental medication. I'm no doctor. I'm not going to give you any type of medical advice. You can do whatever you want with your life. But I heard people who I know, who were taking this medication because they were given by the doctor. They start to have really serious side effects and very dark thoughts and things that they had to stop. So let's start to talk about, if you really, the big media, that, by the way, they are the biggest recipient of this big pharma, of contribution and sponsorship. They don't want to talk about that. All the focus goes to the AR-15, this piece of plastic and metal that supposedly, magically, it will start to shoot people by itself. So let's look at things right now. First of all, this man has mental problem. So it seems, but one thing for sure, he was under very heavy duty mental medication. Now, he bought this gun legally. Okay? You heard the little clip. This is a gun, first maybe I'll play later. This gun was bought legally. Now, let's start from the most important topic here, the point, excuse me. This is also really, no apology. Where in the logic we should follow the idea that if one individual commits a crime, we all should be punished collectively. Let's start from that. That for me really kills everything. Okay? Let's say all the things they're saying are true. That this man really did everything he did, and he did because he had this magic gun that pretty much, shoot himself 1,000 rounds a second. This is all BS. Now I'll tell you more how much they've been saying, and also completely misleading. But still, let's say whatever they say, this gun is terrible, and this guy did everything he did. And right now, we as society of Americans, we need to be punished. We need to be, let's say, deny our right to keep and bear arms. Okay? That includes also the AR-15. Because one person or two people, whatever, committed a crime. That's wrong. I always told you, in other situations, we talk already about it, how many people drunk and drive? Many. Should we all be banned the use of the cars? How many people committed a crime with a knife? Should we all be banned the use of a knife? Come on. So that's the number one thing. This is collective, punishment. It's ridiculous. Like, when mommy, let's say if one of the children, let's say, eats the cookies, all the other children, they're going to be home, going to go to bed without dinner. This is insane. Seriously. Number one. Number two, believe it or not, like it or not, the right to keep and bear arms is a right. You don't take away rights. Okay? Not because some bunch of people on TV, they're gonna start to brainwash you, or they try to brainwash you to tell you that we should not have that gun. Because after all, the gun is an instrument of war. First of all, the gun is an instrument of war for sure. The gun is not a flower, but the gun has no faults. It's the person behind the gun that makes the difference. So the most important thing at the end of the day here, you can scream and yell whatever you want. Okay? You cannot punish me or punish others for the irresponsible criminal actions of one individual. That's a fact. That's wrong in every type of a moral and judicial system. Okay? Number two, as I said also, this is a right. This is America. And then I'll tell you why I was telling you what I told you before. I ran from a country like Italy. By the way, there are no guns, really. These are AR-15. They are very restricted, and probably you don't even have everything like we have here, for sure. And still, crime is rising. Now more than ever, violent crime is rising. But I don't even care about that. The point that in Italy, people never had that right. Never had a Bill of Rights. They never really had a revolutionary war to fight for their freedom. No. So that's the difference. That's what we are facing now here. They want to completely destroy in America, again, our Second Amendment and also our First Amendment. And now I'll tell you why. People say, what has to do with the First Amendment? I'll tell you why. This is not just about guns. Guns is the beginning, of course. But once they have guns, they can take everything away. So let me play for you just this little part. And I'll go more into details, what I really think happened here. So it's all going to be now more laws, more power, more control, and more tax dollar. Because they think with tax dollar they can stop everything. And by the way, if they really want to take this guy out, they could have taken out so many times. So many times. The FBI was called over and over this guy because of his internet post. So it's nothing new. The FBI interviewed, and I'll tell you now more details, the man on YouTube that he was taking all this information about this guy and somehow reported him. And the FBI say, nothing. They were too busy doing probably the Russian investigation. Seriously. This is sad. It could have been prevented at least. Now, let's play 1 second. This is the sheriff from Florida who pleads for power to detain people for social media threats. And by the way, threats now could be anything that maybe, many of us who like guns, you can just go on Facebook and maybe display your guns, show your latest gun. Maybe a little stupid comment that I do not recommend, of course. But still, that would be enough to say, we have the power now to detain you and to take away your rights. No due process, just because we say so. Listen to this. This is just what's coming.
Officials, your commissioners, your state reps, your state senators, make sure these are people that aren't worrying about millage rates and saving money. This is a time to save lives. We need more law enforcement. We need more deputies. This isn't the time to worry about how many dollars might be saved if we don't have a deputy here or a police officer here. This is nationwide. We need more heroes, more first responders, not less first responders. And I know many states have different terms to help our mentally ill. And we all pray for our mentally ill. We pray for them to recover. We all know someone or a family who's affected by someone suffering from mental illness. The Baker Act in Florida allows law enforcement or medical professionals to confine a person involuntarily.
Here we go, something happened. Sorry about that. Anyway, what they were saying, the Baker Act in Florida give the power to the government to somebody, that they think is crazy, just to detain you. But that's not enough, and you hear now more. Not enough, they want more, and more. So my point is, that's what's coming. They want more money. They want to use, they're using this tragedy for their agenda. More money, and more important, more unconstitutional powers. That's what it is. Now, I want to give you also the solution, because people say, look, at the end of the day, what do we do? Something we have to do. But first of all, we need to admit reality here. We need to admit that there have been some faults that could be really preventing this. But also we must admit the reality that at the end of the day, we cannot stop anything. Because if you really want to live in a super safe society, if you want to live so safe, the only place you're going to be so safe is going to be a 10 by 10 jail cell. That you're going to be completely surrounded by bars. They're going to bring you food 3 times a day maybe. And that's it. You're very safe there. You're in a jail. You're in a prison. That's where you are safe. So we must realize that as a free humanity, as a free Americans, there's a point that you cannot have a policeman around every corner. But we can do something. We can start to use logic, common sense. First of all, why you think criminals love schools? Why? Or campuses? Because you know very well, thanks to a Bill Clinton era federal law, these are considered, or they are called, gun-free zones. If you go around that school, 1,000 feet, sorry, within the school, with a loaded gun or any gun, besides some exceptions, guess what? You become a felon. So criminals love that. They know that once they go into that gun-free zone, that's like shooting area. That's like a hunting area. Most of the people, besides a few exceptions, if there is some armed securities, they're all unarmed. It's a perfect spot for a crazy person or a criminal to go there and commit criminal acts. So right there we should eliminate that. Because the only thing they do, these gun-free zones, they remove the opportunity of law-abiding people to defend themselves. Simple as that. So that's the first thing we should address. No, they want to make more gun restrictions. Criminals don't care how many gun laws you do or how many gun bans you do. They will have guns because they are criminal no matter what. The only thing your gun ban or your gun laws will permit is going to be to law-abiding citizen to deny their right to defend themselves. That's the point. So, we need to remove these gun-free zones. Number one. Number two, cops, they're not the answer to everything. You hear the sheriff from Florida. They want more money, more money, more money. You know what? I don't want to walk around in a society that every corner there is a policeman, with all the respect. Otherwise, we will be we would live in a police state. Policemen have their role, but at the same time, as a law-abiding people, we have the right to defend ourselves. And I tell you, all start from the school. And I'm not saying that, if you're a teenager, you should have a gun and go into the school. There are still some laws. We have restrictions. You must be at least 18 to have a gun. Open carry in Arizona, and to conceal you must be at least 21. So there are already some laws from different states. But for sure, let's start from the basic. Teachers, they should have the opportunity to train. And given that type of opportunity to train and to carry a gun in a specific way, in safe ways, in the school, like in Israel do. In Israel they had shooting, I think in the 70s, in the school. After that, they changed completely everything. No more gun-free zones, but every teacher somehow is certified to be also a professional, at least able enough person to defend himself and a student or their students with a gun. So they can carry a gun and they have guns. That's it. Stop in track. After all, you're in a class and somebody's breaking in and you hear it next door. Something happening, you think the cop is going to be there on time. Be logic. It's impossible unless you want to have a school with a police station inside. Okay, I don't think that's what we want, right? We want to think that schools are place for education. Okay, so that's number one or number two. So right there, just those two basic things: removing gun-free zones, and also addressing the fact that the teachers, they should have the right to defend themselves and defend their students with the proper training. That would be a great improvement to everything. Now, another important thing, be logic. Just, as I said, guys, this is not about Republican or Democrat. I don't care. I believe as a free humanity. I believe using my brain, okay? If you really believe that a gun-free zone is going to protect you from a crazy criminal coming there with a gun, you're insane. Seriously, I'm sorry. I don't care. This is not about party line. This is about using your brain. How a sign, gun-free zone, is going to stop a criminal to go there and kill somebody. We already know that. They didn't stop anybody. So that's the bottom line. And the same logic I would like you to use, please, if you believe that, guns are the problem, that if you want to defend yourself from a crazy criminal, you cannot have a policeman in every school. In every school, in every room. One in the school, I'm sure they already are. So you need to have probably the closest things to students, the closest persons to students are teachers. And I'm not saying that every teacher must be mandated to have a gun. No, this is a right. It also means something that you can say, I don't want it. That's fine. I respect that. But if you want to train, you should have the opportunity and you should have also the training. That's my point. Okay? Now, let's look also now here how we could have prevented this. The FBI. The FBI was called many times by a YouTuber investigator who called them, and pretty much, I reported these different Facebook posts and different things that this guy was saying. The FBI went and investigated nothing. So my point is, why? So much now that they're asking for the resignation of the FBI in charge of this case. They were so busy, this FBI is so busy, after things that we know now it's a travesty of justice, what they're doing with their political agenda to go after Trump. And as I told you, I'm not a Republican. I don't even like Trump as much at all. Okay, but this is what is right. All this scandal with the Russian investigation, we have an FBI that has been weaponized as political weapon to destroy this president. And now you tell me this FBI cannot even do their basic job, investigate something that was pretty much black and white. This guy was doing serious threats. They couldn't even find him, they said, according to their information, they couldn't find even his post. So something stinks here. So the FBI should have done his job. That's the bottom line. Then let's look at another important thing. Think about the fact that one thing they have all in common, all these serial killers, at least these mass shooting serial killers, one thing they have in common is these mental medications. This guy is proven he was under serious mental medications. That's what we should look at. Big Pharma, the FDA, and the media, all these networks who benefit so much by the contribution or by the sponsorship of this big pharma. So nobody wants to talk about that, but all they want to point the finger at this AR-15, That, by the way, I can't tell you more. There is so much propaganda now. Back to this, the assault weapon. Automatic weapon never should be in the hands of citizens. First of all, I'm just paraphrasing some of the BS that is going around today in the media. I don't even want to spend too much time. I talk about this so many times, but I'm always trying to reach out somebody maybe who is new. Say, listen, I don't know this stuff. If they tell me it's automatic weapon on TV, I believe it. If they tell me that this gun can shoot laser, I believe it. If this gun shoots by itself, I believe it. No, let me tell you something very simple. This gun, the AR-15, okay, it is not, first of all, an assault weapon, and this is not automatic. Just a little bit of basic, lingo. Assault doesn't assault anybody. It doesn't jump on you when you see it. It's there. Okay? The definition of assault weapon, by the way, is a weapon that's supposed to have selective fire. It goes from semi-automatic to full automatic. Okay? This gun, the average AR-15 that you are allowed to buy as a citizen, it's a semi-automatic rifle with some, let's say, look, because that's what it is. It's a look. And little bit of things that could look like, of course, the real AR-15. There was a selective fire. For example, what do we have here? So incredible, dangerous. Nothing. It is a semi-automatic rifle that shoots 223 5.56 NATO. That is by the way, is a very light cartridge. It's a very underpowered cartridge. Yes, it's very fast, can be lethal, but still, if you really want to have a very powerful gun, much more powerful, much more devastating, all you have to get is the shotgun. Or you want to get, of course, let's get like a 306 or 308. That's really devastating. By the way, the point is this. This gun is not an assault weapon. It is not selective fire. It's semi-automatic. That means you have to squeeze that trigger every time to have a bullet coming out of the barrel. So let's get this information. When the media tell you, this is automatic gun, this automatic weapon, is so devastating. This is just a semi-automatic rifle that shoots 5.56 to 23. That, by the way, in many states, this round, it is not even allowed to hunt because it's too small of a round. And they will even give a real opportunity to have a clean death, clean kill to an animal, especially a big animal, okay? So that's the point. Now, what else they have so dangerous? The look, because it looks is black and it looks dark, probably looks scary, and you have this infamous pistol grip that is just a piece of plastic that you can hold the gun, Really? And then you have what? This stock. It's collapsible. So you can adjust a little bit of your body. That's it. The point is, doesn't matter. You can put this gun with a pistol grip or without pistol grip. It still shoots semi-automatic, and it still shoots 5.56, 223 ammunition. That they are pretty much between 55 and 62 grains. Okay? I wouldn't get that gun as my first line of defense if I had to go to war. But that's another story. Now, what they want here now, use this, as I said, to come after all our guns again. Because this is not over. They try, and they try, and they try. And just using this logic, there will be enough to stop the debate. They say, you know what, as I said, our rights are not for debate. Number one. And if you really want to debate something, let's look here at this medication, mental medication. Let's look here at how the FBI did not do their job. And also another important thing. This man, you want to blame it on the gun dealer, or how the process works, or how to buy a gun? Guess what? This man, he was already enrolled in an ROTC program. I mean, he was clear there. Somebody must have recruited him. I mean, let's look at that. So my point, you can also prevent everything. That's the most important thing. But more important, you don't want to disarm law-abiding people, because there is out there a criminal, okay, who committed a crime. So the point is, we must find a way that we can put more guns into the places where normally criminals will go. More law-abiding people with guns. We can stop bad people with guns. That's the simple recipe. I'm sorry, there is not a magic formula here. The only thing I can tell you, though, if in that school there was a student, or maybe even better, a teacher, because the students, they are too young, a teacher or more teachers they were armed and trained, I'm sure that number would have been really much smaller. That's a fact. Now, after this segment, I want to give you a little bit about the conspiracy theory here, because I believe there is much more than what we told. But even if that's just what we told, these are the facts. I told you exactly what I really believe we should look into with logic. And I tell you guys, you'll see now, this is not anymore about guns. Guns is the beginning. They want our guns, we know that. But as you heard from the sheriff, the Baker Act allows law enforcement or medical professional to confine a person involuntarily. But you have to have a reason. You have to be able to articulate that they are a threat to themselves or to a threat to someone else. Now, Israel, the sheriff pleaded with the lawmakers in Tallahassee that the state capitol in Washington to give police the power to detain people if they see something on social media, if they see graphic pictures of rifle and blood and gore and guns and bombs. Okay, now they're mixing everything up. They're mixing guns with bombs, blood and gore. If they see some horrific language, if they see a person talking about, I want to grow up to be a serial killer, people are going to be rightfully so concerned about their rights, as I am. But what about the rights of the students, the sheriff said. Now, you see, they're putting everything together. Somebody now is going to post something on Facebook like guns. And they can mix it up. Oh, guns, bombs, blood. The point is now they want unlimited power to decide. Without due process, they can come and take your rights and they can confine you in a mental institution. That's the bottom line. I don't think this is the answer to a free society. Okay? I think what we should do now, as I said, use logic and don't be used. Remember, people on the gun control area, okay, site, if you really believe that gun control is the answer, let me tell you something, guys. This is beyond gun control. This is about completely removing every line of defense we have as Americans to stay free. And tomorrow could be happening to you too. You think that taking our guns away and giving all the guns to the government is going to make you safe? Guess what? I feel sorry for you if you think that. I really do. And you know this is not the answer too, even in your heart. The problem is that they are using you as a puppet, as a useful idiot, because this is the agenda of the globalists. Look already what happened in Europe. People say, oh, look, in Europe we don't have those things. Yeah, they don't talk about how many, murdering of the crime, violent crime, skyrocketing with knives in London with acid every other day. In Italy, people are being chopped by machete. I mean, we're talking about things that we have no idea. You think guns, more people are dying, by the way, by alcohol. More people are dying by drunken driving. Okay, well, we want to ban all the alcohol now? Come on. But for sure, that's their agenda. That's what they want. Now let's take a little break. You're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom with luca-zanna, and then we'll continue. Because this is very serious, and I'll tell you more important information about a special guest I have coming next Sunday. Stay tuned, don't go away.
It is time. Get your Arizona Concealed Carry Permit now with Arizona Concealed Carry Permit by Zanna Enterprises, LLC. Become a more responsible and educated gun owner. Carry legally concealed in 35 states. Carry permitted in restaurants where alcohol is served. Learn where and how you can legally carry a firearm in Arizona. Learn where you can use deadly force. Where can you display your gun or not for self-defense? Learn how to deal with law enforcement while carrying a firearm. Learn how to be aware of your surroundings and how to avoid a confrontation. Buy your gun without waiting for a background check. Get your Arizona Concealed Carry Permit now. Go to www.azccw.us. Go to www.azccw.us. Free for single mothers and people with disabilities.
Awaken the warrior in you with Skadi, the new organic coffee by Zanna Enterprises, LLC. I am Skadi, Norse goddess of winter, hunting, and just revenge. I bow down to no one. I am independent. I am fierce. I am a warrior. My Viking spirit is reborn in the new organic bean blend by Zanna Coffee. I will keep you up when you feel down, sharing my energy, my boldness, my zest for life. Find happiness in every cup, whether it's iced like a Scandinavian night to refresh a summer day, or hot as a hearth fire to warm the coldest winter morning. As you rise to face the day, Skadi will awaken the warrior in you.
Available at www.zannacoffee.com.
Here we go, we are back. You're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom with luca-zanna. I wanted to read, first of all, a little article that is technically a letter from, let's see, what is this, MSN.com, great instrument of propaganda for the globalist. This is a letter. My grandfather hid in a closet during the first U.S. mass shooting. I did the same thing at my Florida high school. And this is, let's see, the letter by, who is this? I don't even care about the name. It's a girl, okay? Carly Noble, 17, found herself huddled in a closet during the mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneham Douglas High School, okay? Mariotti, whatever it's called. All right, bottom line, you can find it. Just put Carly Noble letter. This is exactly where the propaganda works, how the propaganda works, okay? I'm going to go straight to the bottom of this letter. This is a, cute little girl who's saying that her grandfather somehow survived the first mass shooting in America. It was in New Jersey exactly 7 years ago, hiding in the closet. Fine, My grandpa's mom was telling him to hide in the closet, so he went and he hid and he heard it all. And if he was there, I can imagine what he would be feeling. Okay? My family has always been really supportive of gun control. I was 8 years old when my grandfather died, but my mom told me how important family was to him because of what happened. Anytime there is a shooting, we're always thinking about my grandpa. And now it is happening so much more often. I think my grandfather would be really angry and upset. Okay, that's the girl opinion. Fine, I respect that. That's your opinion. Okay? Now, when I was in the closet, okay, she was in the closet, she was hiding, I didn't hear anything. I heard sirens, but I have friends who heard gunshots and saw people killed. Everyone was just on their phones trying to see what was happening. We didn't know what was going on. At one point someone said there were 5 shooters. 5 shooters. We had to hear it from outside our schools. I had a friend in Georgia watching the live stream on the news telling me, oh, the police are closing in, blah, blah, blah. Now, the end of the story, now I'll tell you about these 5 shooters and my, logic, what I hear, what I see. It is not exactly what we've been told. So anyway, what do you want? She wants, I just want legislation, something better than this. I feel like they are valuing the right to bear arms over the people who are dying. It is just enough at this point. It has been enough since the first shooting. Trump is speaking about thoughts and prayers, but does not do anything when it already happened. What do prayers do when people are already dead? It would be best to start with automatic weapons, because who needs those? Now, for the media, would they know this? This is a completely misinformation. Automatic weapons. She's saying automatic weapons. This is such a piece of propaganda. Let me explain to you one more time. I already told you before. This is why I'm trying to educate you. If you are a good person, even if we have different belief, if you think we should not have guns, that's another story. Okay? You're not a good person, by the way, if you think that. You're a fascist. But beside that, if you're a person at least believes in truth, when somebody said automatic weapons, this gun, these AR-15s that they were allegedly used by this alleged shooter, they were not automatic. They were semi-automatic. That means the difference, even for the morons out there, let me repeat it to you, automatic, you squeeze the trigger once and bullets gonna start to pop out like popcorn. Okay? Can you get that? Good. Now, semi-automatic, that's the case, the gun in question, that's what the media should have corrected. Say, hey, lady, use the right words. This is not an automatic. This is a semi-automatic. You need to squeeze the trigger every time you want a bullet coming out of the barrel. So that's right there. We have a big problem. Because right now, just to let you know, if you want to buy an automatic weapon, you must be, it's so hard, so expensive. There are so many legislations, or federal legislation, so many, you have no idea. And it's very expensive, by the way. It could cost you probably about $20,000, $30,000, okay? So that's my point. So that was not an automatic weapon, okay? This is just a semi-automatic rifle. I already told you before. Now, but, this is the final part that really freaks the hell out of me, of this letter from this girl. I think only law enforcement should have guns. If there were no guns, I don't understand what you would do, what you would need to protect yourself from. I just don't want to see this happen anymore. And I don't want to see it happen at my school. You know what? This is exactly what I'm afraid. The level of stupidity and propaganda and brainwashing has completely burned the brain of our next generation. This girl believes that only law enforcement should have guns, so only the state, really, that's called fascism, okay? But more important, the very illogical concept that scares the hell out of me, so stupid she is, if there were no guns, there is no crime. Guess what? Criminals always gonna have guns. And even if they have no guns, they're gonna find something else to smash your head, trust me. So that's the point. That's the point. That's what they're doing now. Now, I want to go a little bit into the, let's say, I don't want to call it conspiracy, because I think it's logic. We're talking about logic, okay? The logic is that there were more than one shooters, because witnesses are reporting that. Several witnesses. We should look into that. I mean, we should have this like a serious investigation. Why the media are not reporting that? But I can play right now for you this one, right now, okay? This is important. This is important. Let's see exactly what we... Second only.
Other teacher, she got shot in the arm, But she's fine. She just started walking home too.
And can you tell us again, when did you realize that there was an issue?
So it was the first fire drill that happened this morning. It was the first fire drill this morning. And then there was a second one, and we were all thinking, oh, it's either a real fire drill or they're just doing this again on accident. And then they taught us, they said that if there's a fire drill, they want all the kids to run out, so that would make an easier shot. Like, everybody just starts pushing each other, running, and then we're kind of just like, is this what's happening? And then we realized, like, we thought this was a drill because they said they'll use blanks in a drill, but they actually didn't. It was real. And we got out, and they started yelling at us to keep focused and pay attention ahead, the army people, because they didn't want us to see the bodies that they hit in the corners. And we're putting mats over them so we wouldn't see them. And do you think there was more than one shooter? There's 3 shooters.
There were 3 shooters, more than one. There was an army drill. I mean, think about it. Every time there is an event like this, there is always a drill. Always a drill. Something that we should look into that. There was an army drill. Why the media don't really report that very much? How really coincidence to have an army drill the same time of the mass shooting. Now, we also seen that there were more than one shooter. Multiple shooters. This is so important. Let me play for you this one too. I mean, this is serious, okay? We cannot underestimate these statements. Or at least we need to investigate them.
And principal came on the speaker and just said, everyone needs to evacuate right now. So that's what we did. As I was going down the stairs, I heard a couple shots fired. Everyone was freaking out, saying that it was a gun. And as we were walking, the whole class together, I actually was speaking to the suspect, Nikolas-Cruz. And as I was speaking to him, he seemed very, I don't know what the word I want to say is, but he was trouble in middle school. So I kind of joked to him about it and said, I'm surprised you weren't the one who did it. And he just gave me a huh. So that's really what happened.
You were walking down the hall. He had already fired at that time.
Yes, sir, with him.
Weren't you scared?
In the moment I wasn't, because there was obviously definitely another shooter involved, but...
Oh, you think he was wrong?
No, definitely not.
Why do you say that?
Because when shots were fired, I saw him after the fact. So, and the shots were coming from the other part of the building, so there definitely had to be 2 shooters involved, I believe.
That's the first I've heard of that. Did you see any other students who were wounded?
No, sir.
Okay, sorry for the little technical problem. Bottom line, another witness confirming, according to a witnessing, there was more than another shooter, more than one shooter. Now the point is, why don't we talk about this? The same story. Remember the Colorado shooting at the theater? The witnesses, they're looking at more than one. Then went down to one. Las Vegas shooting. There are many witnesses saying that there was more than one. Then, by the way, the witness that they talked that mysteriously died. At least 3 of them. Remember the Las Vegas shooting? Again, go Google it. So there is something we need to look into that. Now, do I approve that this was another false flag? Maybe not. Maybe not completely. But I know for sure that something must be investigated seriously. And you cannot just point the finger now at the rifle or just at the guy, the Nikolas-Cruz. Patsies, false flags are something that we've been talking and been documenting, and this is nothing new. They've been used over and over. And I was telling you before the break here, next week I'm going to have, maybe not next week, the next couple of weeks, because now he's in Russia. This is a former military, Secret Service military, Italian military, who was one of the founding members of the undercover military group called Gladio. Gladio was an Italian undercover group, military group of military intelligence that was created originally with the intent to stay behind to fight the Russians in case Italy and Europe was invaded. The problem that from there went much deeper. From there, this group was used to create the false flags operations, to blame it on the communists. By the way, I can't stand communists, but still, this is a very disturbing things they've been doing. False flag means that they create an act that can be blamed on the opposition. So, problem, reaction, solution. And we're talking about act of violence, act of death, bombs, where people died. So that's the point. This guy was one of the few, probably the only one, who came out public exposing all of this, and he risked his life. And I'm in contact with him. He wrote a book, by the way, very interesting. I'm reading it. And I want to talk about this with him because I want to show you guys that this false flag is nothing new. Okay, so don't be surprised if things like, episodes like this Florida shooting was maybe orchestrated or manipulated by some dark forces for their agenda. And you already heard the agenda here. They want your guns, they want your freedom of speech. Now you gotta watch it. Every time you post something on Facebook that may have a gun, even just for fun, they want the type of power, unlimited power, to completely, selectively decide if you can be free or not, if you still can have your rights or no, without due process. That's what really freaks me out, as much as the fact that they can take our guns. And then, of course, all the useful idiots, they believe that this is an automatic gun. They believe that this gun is going to assault you in the middle of the night while you're sleeping. I mean, all these crazy people, unstable people, who believe that with a society with no guns, crime would not exist. Guess what? Maybe in an ideal world, maybe in Disneyland, maybe. The point is reality that criminals always going to exist. And guns are always going to be out there. There are probably about 1 billion guns in this country only. But even if it was just one, trust me, they don't need a gun to kill you. They can kill you easier, probably if nobody has guns. If you're a criminal, you love a society without guns. And more important, the real criminal, in my opinion, that we should fear here, it's a corrupted government. Okay? Our founding fathers never really envisioned the Second Amendment just to protect you from the average scumbag out there. Okay? Sometimes, most of the times, you can do that with a 2x4. The real difference of this country among all the other countries around the world, that the Second Amendment is supposed to protect us, we the people, from a corrupted government, a tyrannical government. That's what it was about. Like it or not. If you don't like it, you can go to Europe where there is no Bill of Rights. Everybody is a slave. You have no freedom of speech. You can be detained and arrested for your speech. Yes, you can. If you like that phrase, you can. Yes, you can be a slave. Go and be a slave in Europe. Go be a slave in Italy. Okay? That's the bottom line. Where guns, only the mafia and the police state can have guns. Okay? That's it. And criminals don't care. They will break into your home, rape you, rape your dogs, rape your daughter, and meanwhile, if you try to defend yourself, even with a butter knife, you will be arrested and pay them for the rest of your life. That's where you want to live? Slave. That's what you are if you believe in that. Okay? No, I believe this is America. We should have the right to defend ourselves and our freedom. Period. Okay? And our rights are not for sale. There is not for debate. I don't debate my rights. I don't debate with slaves. That's the bottom line. If you want my guns, I already told you. You need to be man enough to grow some balls and come and take them. Not because some emotional child here or some useful, corrupted media, completely lying to the facts. Try to brainwash you that repeat the word assault weapon, AR-15, and automatic weapons many, many times, just because so you think you can take my guns away. Now, another important thing I want to tell you. FBI, over 4 times more people stabbed to death than killed with rifles of any kind. This is from the FBI. The FBI Uniform Crime Report, UCR, for 2016 shows more than 4 times as many people were stabbed to death than were killed with rifles of any kind. That's it. So what do you want to do? You want to now ban all these knives? That's what you want. Okay? So that's my point. I rest my case. Okay? Now, little break. We're almost at the end. I know this show is going to be kind of crazy. I want to talk more about love. And this is love, by the way. Love for truth. Okay? I don't believe that we're supposed to instrumentalize anything like that to destroy our rights. Let me take a break. Stay there. Don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman,
I'm not afraid,
and a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid,
Italian by birth,
I'm not afraid,
American by choice. Gianluca Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Gianluca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
Here we go. This is the final segment of today's show. As I said before, guys, this show is called Love, Guns, and Freedom. It's not called just guns and blast them all, okay? Or just freedom. It's called about love. And I want to reach you with love. I want to tell you, my point here is not to be right, okay? I just try to bring facts and information and use logic and use love in whatever I tell you. Even sometimes I may sound a little harsh. Even sometimes, you may think I'm a little extreme. Yes, when it comes to freedom, I believe that I'm an extreme. I don't want to be a slave. And I see the trend. I see what's happening. I see what they're planning for us. I see the big picture. This is not more just about guns. This is not about another mass shooting. This is about the final plan to take away all our rights. They already done that in many levels, especially around the world. This country is the last country we still have guns. Why? They are so concerned. Why they want them so bad? Because then the sky, or I would say hell, is the limit. That's what it is about. So, I also want to give you thinking. I don't want to use my information as the final authority. I just give you some ideas, and there is so much more you can find. I want to show you the path. You can find your truth by yourself. I know you can. And as I said, we may have differences of opinions on many other issues, socioeconomics, but when it comes down to freedom, the freedom of the individual and logic, and to see exactly things with the eyes and our brain, not just what we've been told and brainwashed. We should be united. That's my point. So that's my appeal. That's my call. To use your brain, use your heart, use your love to see what we are facing as humanity. It is a very serious threat that we have altogether. And guns, you may not like them. That's fine. I respect that. If you don't like carry a gun, that's fine. But you understand, guns are not evil. Guns are just objects. You can use a gun like a hammer. You can build a home, or you can crush a skull. With guns, you can take a life or can save a life. But more important at this point, in my opinion, you can take freedom. You can enslave a nation, because they will have guns. They already have guns. Or you can defend freedom. That's the bottom line. That's why we have guns. Now, I would like to give you also a little bit of, normally we talk about this, the second part of the show, training ideas. There are so many opportunities in these days to train. And I want to share with you one, especially if you live in Havasu City or in Mojave County. I started these incredible handgun classes for self-defense. I really invite you to come. What you get is much more than just allowed to shoot a gun. It's also how to get your combat mindset, and also how to train in realistic situations. And it's affordable. It's make it in a way that it's one-day class, but this class will continue helping you forever. We provide you PDF files, ebooks, and also more important, now we're working on videos that you can have access on the internet with all this curriculum. Now the important thing I would like to tell you, remember, you are the weapon. You are the weapon. The gun is just an accessory, just an extension of your body and your soul to defend yourself. So you need to start to think like that. You're never unarmed. Even these kids in the school, the first thing you want to do, yes, you want to avoid, you want to evade, you want to run and hide. That's fine. But there is a point that when you need to decide, when there is no other option, you need to fight back. And not because you don't have a gun or you don't have a rifle in that moment, you are disarmed. You're always armed. Your brain is the biggest weapon. Your heart is the fuel that will give really life to your brain. What do you mean, Luca? I tell you what you mean. I really believe that, also talking in my classes, there's like a triangle that every fighter, a good fighter, a good human being who wants to fight evil should have. A brain that works, because that's your most important weapon, your brain. Then your heart, because that's exactly what motivates you to fight back against evil, your love. And then, of course, the weapon. The weapon could be, at this point, anything. Could be a Mosin Nagant, 100-year-old Mosin Nagant rifle, or could be maybe a pencil stick in somebody else's eyes. Okay? So that's my point. So you need to start to think like that. You're never unarmed. Your brain is the biggest weapon. Your love is the biggest motivation. And then at that point, look around. Everything can be a weapon. So that's what I hope maybe our children, also at school, they should start to be trained to defend themselves, not just to run and hide under the tables or in the closets. Some of them, they were very heroic. I would like to talk maybe next week. Some of them, they really had great courage. They fought back. They tried to defend others. So please, let's pray for them, pray for everybody, and let's pray for the truth. You've been listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna. God's willing, I will talk to you next Sunday. Ciao.
Wake up.